So Martini and I had actually moved into an apartment at the corner of Castro and Market. Do you know where the Twin Peaks bar is and Hot Cookie? We were living in the apartment above that. So basically the gayest apartment in the world. I mean, like, think about it. It's the gayest apartment in the world. So that's where we lived, and I was, and still am, obsessed with the film A Nightmare on Elm Street. And can I say that you're here tonight? The director of photography of A Nightmare on Elm Street is here tonight, so I'm really nervous. I was obsessed with A Nightmare on Elm Street. And having moved into the gayest apartment in the world, I came up with the concept of doing a movie called A Nightmare on Castro Street, where we were parodying, you know, Freddie, and it was my friend Squeaky, and I was also obsessed with, lots of obsessions are poured into this little video. And that movie kind of went, that little short went on to have its own, you know, little festival run, and you know, we spent no money. I'm thinking maybe $100 to make that movie, because it was the cost of the tape and whatever video camera we could get, whatever lights. We had extra lighting. Usually when I'm doing it at the universities, we screen the movies. But for tonight, because it's like an All About Evil thing, we're just skipping the screening of the movies until the All About Evil one. But Nightmare on Castro Street was just, you know, just as silly as the other ones, and it was just as much fun to make, and it was no money. And, you know, from there we led into, okay, well, if we did two of them, we should do a trilogy. And so I designed in my mind the idea that it had to be a trilogy. I couldn't do that thing where it was not going to be a trilogy and we'd do a fourth one because I was tempted. Yeah, right, you know. But I was convinced that we had to do a trilogy, so I set it in the future. We did Old Lady Drag, so there couldn't be another one. Because, you know, that was the best way. So that was our Whatever Happened to Peaches Christ movie, where Mar is the Joan Crawford kind of character and I'm the Baby Jane character. And so then we had this trilogy, and the trilogy itself had a life of its own. But in between making Nightmare on Castro Street and Whatever Happened to Peaches Christ, I thought to myself, I am not a serious filmmaker. I need to come up with something that doesn't rely on peaches or drag, and it needs to be an original idea. And I'd always had this idea about someone who is making movies and murdering people in the movies, but the audience doesn't know that the people are being murdered. So they're not snuff films per se, because you watch a snuff film, right, for the murder. You know, there's sort of, that's what makes it, you know, tittillating or whatever, you know. This isn't that. This is something else, or at least in my mind it is. And so I had this idea, and it wasn't, Peaches wasn't going to be in the movie, and it wasn't going to rely on drag. And it was like Season of the Troll. Like I think I wrote it in a few nights, and I think we shot it in 1.5 nights. I think we shot it in 1.5 nights. I only had the actress for 5 days. She was living in New York at the time, so she came back. So we made the whole movie in less than a week. And again, it was a $50 budget. It was whatever clothes we had lying around. It was a black sheet to look like a TV studio. It was whatever. And that movie was called Grindhouse. And it was just the kernel of an idea, just this silly little, simple, basic kernel of an idea that has grown on to become All About Evil, which is still mind-blowing to me that we're even about to shoot this little kernel that became this other thing. So what I thought we'd do now, to kind of break up my little talk, is show Grindhouse, if you guys are interested at all. Keeping in mind, there's no production value. I again stepped in to be in the movie because we didn't have the right actor. You know, I can make a million apologies for it. And so instead I'll just say it is what it is. And so we'll screen it, I think, now. And then I'll finish telling you how this went from this to All About Evil, and kind of tell you what's going on with All About Evil.